Dr. Emily Landau, who's with us in studio of the INSS, is sitting here tightly on the edge of her seat. And I want to start with you, Emily, Emma, and Kelsey can hear us as well. She's in Vienna. There has been talk about progress over the course of the last several days. You're shaking your head. If there is access to some of the military sites, which is what world powers have demanded, not just the nuclear sites, still, the feeling seems to be in Israel, which is where we're sitting, is that this is a bad deal still. Of course, we do not know all the details, but if there is access, why is it a bad deal?
Well, first of all, verification is one of the issues. We focus on, one or two of the issues, and then there are 4 or 5 more very important issues that we don't relate to at every specific point in time. Verification, of course, is one of the central issues on the table. In fact, the U.S. administration has been telling us from the beginning of this negotiation, don't worry, this will be with a very, very strong verification regime. And we know that a strong verification regime means verification anywhere, anytime. That's the kind of verification you need when you're dealing with a state that is a known violator of the NPT. Iran lost the trust of the international community. They have been cheating and deceiving for years with regard to their military and nuclear activities, and therefore you need the most stringent verification regime. Now, yesterday, together with the reports that there has been some progress, right, we saw quotes of a U.S. official saying, we can't demand access to every military facility. The United States would also not agree to that. Now, that statement is problematic on so many levels. Right. Why in the world would that diplomat equate Iran and America? Iran is a known violator of the NPT. Iran has been cheating and deceiving the international community for decades. Iran is a supporter of terrorism. Iran is a bully in the Middle East. Everything we know about Iran, that should be equated to America. This kind of, equivalence between the states, as if we can't demand from Iran what America would not allow, to happen. America is not a violator of the NPT. And this kind of statement is indicative of a lot of the rhetoric that we hear with regard to these negotiations, as if the two sides are equal, as if they have an equal interest in the deal, and as if they have an equal obligation to make concessions. That's not the case. The P5+1 have done no wrong. Iran is a violator of the NPT and an aggressive state in the region. There's no equivalence here, and it's actually a game of compellence. Iran needs to be compelled to return to the fold of the NPT. There's no equal responsibility here for concessions on both sides. That kind of framing is incorrect. It's detrimental to the bargaining position of the P5+1 in the negotiation. It weakens their leverage when they say to the Iranians, we're the same and we each have equal obligations, or as I said, was said with regard to the military facilities. I mean, that is such a problematic statement. Those are the things that, indicate to us how problematic this negotiation has become.
Emily, okay, we're hearing this. No country would agree to access to its full military sites. There is a point in that to be made in many ways. Is that something, though, that the international community should feel is needed in order to also curtail the nuclear progress of Iran?
Absolutely.
Why?
Look, because we know how Iran has been behaving in the past. I mean, we have a lot of information. We're not starting from zero, where we're thinking, how we can deal with this proliferator. With regard to Parchin, that military facility that's been on the table for years and in a more focused manner since the beginning of 2012, after the IAEA report came out in late 2011 with all the information that the IAEA has about the suspected military activities. So from January 2012, the IAEA has been trying to get access to Parchin. That's a long time. The Iranians, on at least 6 or 7 occasions, said to the inspectors, okay, come in, giving them the sense that they would allow them into Parchin. Right. The inspectors get to Iran, and then Iran, for whatever reason, says, no, you do not have access to Parchin. We know the games that Iran has been playing. We know that Iran wants to keep its breakout capability. We know that that it has not moved away from its military aspirations. When you're dealing with such a determined proliferator, you need a determined stance on the other side. If you start thinking that, you know, we can't demand these things from Iran because who would agree to that? Well, Iran is behaving in a way that you need measures that are different. Look at the inspection regime that was put in place in Iraq after the Gulf War, and after it became clear that even though Iran had gotten a clean bill of health in 1990 on the eve of the Gulf War, after the war it became apparent that they were on the verge of nuclear weapons. There are problems with inspections. There's problems with intelligence. You need this kind of strict verification like UNSCOM. You know, they came into Iraq, and the kind of inspections that they did are very stringent. So now we hear from the administration, well, you know, we can't do those kind of inspections because we could do that in Iraq because they lost a war. So only if you lose a war are you, are you able to put those inspections in place? What about a state that's a sponsor of terror, that is behaving so aggressively in the Middle East, supporting Assad, supporting Hezbollah? Is that not enough to make us feel that we need more strict measures?
You know, it's the valid points of, you know, what type of measure would be in, but I think, you know, that just moving forward, this deal will not be made possible if also the United States does not sign up fully to it, and by that I don't just mean the United States president, rather also Congress. Thank you for being with us, Tamar. You wanted to say vis-a-vis what Dr. Landau said before.
Yeah, just one thing that the Iranian leadership also has to answer to the people and show them that we're strong, we didn't give in,
right.
We kept our red lines. I mean, they're under pressure from outside and from the inside as well. I'm not saying, as an Israeli, I'm not saying they should not grant access.
No, unfortunately, the international community needs to ensure that Iran will not become a nuclear weapons state. We need to keep in mind all the time that nuclear weapons capabilities are irreversible. If they get there, it's game over. And that's why this issue is so very important.
And I think time will tell, but for anything, maybe, as Rebecca said, by July 9th, we'll know, you know, where the winds are heading. I want to thank you all of you ladies, for being with me this morning to discuss this issue.
All ladies.
All ladies. Thank you very much. Thank you.